All right, hey guys, welcome to the Explain Like I'm 5 session by the Dapp List. We started this series to run you through how to make use of the project on the Build Launchpad. Let's get into it. Today we have with us Michael from Transpose. Transpose is on a mission to make blockchain data universally accessible. But I will allow Michael give us an introduction and walk us through Transpose in more detail. All right, Michael, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thanks a lot for that intro. Really excited to be here and share more about what we're building with you guys. So like just mentioned, I'm building Transpose. Transpose provides the most comprehensive tools on the market for accessing blockchain data, whether you're developing a Dapp or protocol of your own, or just want to conduct analysis on NFT collections and tokens. We provide all the raw and high-level data that makes that possible. So, this is I'm on my website, on our website right now. So that's where you sign up right over there, and then all we have to do to get set up, go log into our account, launch the app. It'll prompt you to log in with a Google account. From there, you can pick a tier and actually get your key and get up and running. So cool. So it's loaded me in. I've already obviously picked my tier. So I have my key here. I'm going to just copy that. You can see this is my API key here that we'll be using. We have a little dashboard. And so I actually already have this key set up in my environment. So we'll be able to use that. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and just walk through this Jupyter notebook with you guys. So feel free to interrupt me if there are any questions at any point. This will be demonstrating the Transpose Python SDK, which I will send a link for in the chat after we're done as well. But essentially this makes it really easy to get at kind of complete Ethereum data using Python. So first off, we initialize everything, get everything set up. It's really easy. Really, we just have this line here, which is actually setting up our SDK once we've imported it up here, and then a few other utilities that we'll be using throughout this demo. So we'll start really simple. To begin with, let's just start looking at some simple NFT data. And here I'm putting in my own ENS address. And there's complete support for ENS addresses, interchangeable with actual account addresses as well. But here you can see this is what the data looks like. We're pulling all of the NFTs I own, up to 100 of them, and then converting that to a dictionary and printing out the results. So here you can see one NFT. We can actually take a look here. This is what kind of data we actually have on this. So in this case, it looks like it's my ENS name, one of several ENS names that I own, and you can see a whole bunch of info associated with that. Twitter, this one doesn't have Discord and Telegram in this case, but we have external URL and image URL. Basically a lot of helpful stuff to let us understand what people are owning. And we can search for NFTs in a whole bunch of ways. So we can do name matching as well. So here we put in the Bored Ape contract address and then search board, and just go through and match to see whether the contracts for anything that has the name board in it is the same as the Bored Ape, and print that out. So see, there's a lot of board contracts out there. You can also look at collections that were most recently created. So if we just pass in order descending, collections by date created without a date, it'll just give us the most recent collection. So in this case, we're pulling 5, and then just displaying collection.name, the name for each of these collections. Simple to get at and work with. So tokens work exactly the same way. And this is kind of one of the big strengths of Transpose, is that because we are handling all the data transformations and everything, we've really standardized all of the data formats to make sure that everything is really consumable in the same consistent format, no matter what kind of data it is. So tokens and NFTs, this will be a familiar format from what we just looked at with NFTs before, but we have things like name, symbol, a number of decimals that the fungible token uses, description, supply, basically all the info we need when looking at a high level. Cool. So now let's take a look at NFT sales. This is kind of one of the features that we do best, and one of the things that people request most often. We index all the sales on Ethereum across all the major exchanges with really fantastic coverage. I believe we're doing 8 or 9 exchanges at the moment, and make all of that activity available in the same format. So here we're basically just pulling in using a little helper that we set up as part of the SDK called bulk request that lets us pull in a bunch of results all at once, and then we're getting sales by contract address, passing in Bored Apes, and pulling in everything after the 1st of July. So since then, there have been 634 sales. So this is already a little longer than last month, but we could do the same for August and see, okay, in the last month, there were 321 sales of Bored Apes. So we can take a look at what kind of information we have for the first sale that occurred in the month. We can see it happened on OpenSea Seaport, for example. We can see the exact time. We have the transaction hash. So if we want to go look up the rest of the information, we can do transactions by hash and retrieve all of that. We have kind of location information and what token was actually sold. That stuff is pretty simple, but what is most exciting that we do really best is the price information. We're pulling in the dollar price, the ETH price, and the buyer and the seller, and this is something that you can't really get in a consistent format elsewhere. So makes it just really easy to pull in all the sales, look at everything, aggregate values, and anything else you want. Oh. There's no associated price. So one of the weird things about working with blockchain data is that people always figure out a way to use these standards in non-standard ways. And we've seen token transfers that didn't transfer any tokens. We've seen NFT sales that actually have been using NFT exchanges as dexes to swap tokens, just like all of this weird stuff. But let me just, it's like really absurd. Sale dot. Let's see, here we go. Cool. So here we're just aggregating by day. We're ignoring that transaction that for some reason didn't have a price, but we're aggregating by day, and so you can see the volume of Bored Ape sales in dollar terms in the month of August all the way up till today. Here, $110,000 so far. So yeah, this is pretty cool. It's really easy to do this kind of aggregation, and just with like some really simple logic, like I've got set up here, we can actually go through, add up all the sales, and do some really interesting analysis. So let's take a look at this volume by day over the month. Fairly volatile, actually. Looks like it's kind of been a good trend, and then things got a little slow. I'm not a technical analyst. Cool. So here is another thing that we can do really simply. We can aggregate all of this data by exchange and actually see what the volume is across different exchanges. And this is always a really interesting one, in my opinion, because I feel like everyone always assumes that OpenSea is just like by far the biggest exchange, but you can see in this case, OpenSea and X2Y2 are actually almost the same amount of volume for Bored Ape transfers. So that's pretty interesting stuff. And again, super easy to actually go through this. All we're doing here is setting up a dictionary, looping through all of our sales, checking to make sure that it wasn't that one weird. I'm going to go investigate that after. That's a really weird situation. But yeah, then we're basically just checking to see if we have the key. If we have it, we add the dollar value. If not, we set it up. Very simple stuff. We sort it by volume and just print everything out. Any questions so far?
No, not at all. So I'm going.
Cool. So we can do exactly the same thing with token swap data. So here we're pulling in 1,000 most recent token swaps. This is just all swaps generally, so not for a particular contract. We can take a look at what this looks like. And this is DEX swaps, to be clear. This is also something that you'd be hard-pressed to find anywhere else. If you use something like the graph, which is probably the closest option you could get to getting a complete view that's pre-indexed, you're going to have inconsistent data types, and I mean, with their hosted service going down, you can't even get all this data anyway. So, I mean, right now when people want this data, they have to go decode it for themselves from raw event logs, which is a real pain. But same thing as before, really easy to aggregate swaps by DEX. So unlike NFTs, swaps are actually really heavily skewed towards Uniswap. You can see it's handling most of the volume. And let's take a look. We can see what the most common few pairs are. This is pretty neat. Let's pull in some information on what the top few coins here actually are. So first one, that's very surprising. It's wrapped Ether. Second one, USDC. Third is Tether. And Illuvium. Whatever that's supposed to be. So yeah, this is pretty neat. You can really easily get at all the information that we would care about if we're looking for NFT or token swap data. Cool. Well, just press right on. We can do very much the same thing, but and start to mix and match a lot of this data because it's all consistent formats and everything. We can do some really interesting analysis. So here we're actually going to retrieve all of the top holders for Bored Apes, all 10,000 owners, and then aggregate by how much they own. That's what we're doing in our first cell here. And then we're going to go pull all of the other NFTs that those top holders own. And so this is what we're displaying here is the number of NFTs held by the top holder of Bored Apes. So you can see a lot of Bored Ape related stuff. It's funny. I've been doing this demo for a couple of months now, and every single time I do it, there's less and less non-Bored Ape related things here.
That's interesting. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. This guy, it's the same guy. I mean, I feel like this was the account that was controlled by Yuga Labs, from what I remember. But yeah, I'm not sure. It's interesting to watch it change though. I mean, now there's pretty much nothing left on here that's not associated with them. Cool. Well, so for one of our last demos, this one a little bit juicier code. Really, it's not doing anything crazy. We're taking this one account, and then we're pulling all the NFTs, all the NFT transfers, all the NFT sales, and then parsing through this information to build up a real... Okay, I might have to skip this one for now. Cool. Well, I mean, honestly, the rest of the stuff just is rehashing this. So I'm happy to stop now and take any questions that you guys have.
I think one of the questions I have that I'm just curious about is, why Python, for example? So that is just an interesting question I'd like to know.
Yeah, sure. Great question. Well, first of all, it's the language that most people are familiar with for basic data science purposes. It's also a classic backend language, and it was something that we just saw requested quite a lot early on. We're definitely going to add a JavaScript SDK soon. That's pretty top of mind, but Python we figured was a great place to start and helped us be a little bit differentiated from a lot of the rest of the market.
All right. Okay, cool. Makes sense. All of that being said, Michael, thank you so much for stopping by and giving us the intro and the live demo of Transpose.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for hosting me. It's been a pleasure and always happy to continue the conversation if anyone has any other questions or comments.
Okay. Thank you everyone that joined us for today's session. And thank you, Michael, for this amazing walkthrough. If you'd like to see more Explain Like in 5 session, please head over to our YouTube channel. And also remember to subscribe so you don't miss anything, and also like and share this video with friends. For more alpha, visit us at thedapplist.com. And until next time.